Here we are on a Sunday, diving in to do more Svengoolie conversation with another Svengoolie fan. Welcome, first time around. Aaron, glad to have you here to do the conversation.
Hi.
All right, let's jump into comments. Chai Star G, our perennial offerer of the Let's Go. Jim Campbell.
Go.
Let's go. Frequent contributor Jim Campbell saying, let's do this. So, Aaron, here we began the text box conversation via Reddit, and here we are. So how did you first learn of the character of Svengoolie?
Okay. Svengoolie, I didn't hear about him until he had gone national because I'm in West Virginia, and we never really had a horror host in our area. We did have the Chicago broadcast, some things broadcast through here. Like I grew up watching Bozo the Clown, but when I was little, I didn't know that wasn't local. But we didn't really have any horror hosts here. When Svengoolie went national with MeTV, my dad found him just browsing through our expanded channels that we had. I think I had already moved to Pittsburgh at that point. I lived there for 2 years right after I got married. And my dad said, hey, we've got this horror host and he's showing a movie that we'd like. I don't even remember which one it was. It may have been a Godzilla movie. But I watched it up in Pittsburgh, and Dad and I would text back and forth about the movie. It's like, okay, well, that was kind of fun. And then I didn't watch again for like a year. And then he came back with another movie that I was interested in seeing. And again, I don't remember which one it was. And then I started watching more regularly. And that was just a way for my dad and I to keep in contact while I was, in a different state from him. And now I've moved back to West Virginia. We live a 10-minute drive apart, and we still do it. And we've been watching him for these, 10 years now? Gosh, it's been a long time.
A good long time, and it's always interesting for me to hear each person's specific experiences and the universal theme you're speaking on, not the universal movies, but the
right.
theme that goes across so many fans, as it becomes an intergenerational connection. It becomes a way for family members to participate, enjoy, or have a common topic to discuss with each other. So we're hitting all the marks here. Dad sounds like a real cool guy with a good taste in movies. So then for you specifically, right, so you had a bit of from your first introduction until you became more of a regular fan, there was a bit of a gap in time. Definitely, as you just mentioned, it was partly the connection with your dad, what kept you coming back. What other elements of the show or of the character kept you engaged to revisit the show?
I love the history that he talks about with the movies. I am a fan of most cultural aspects of different points in time, even recent history like the 60s. But I really like how, well, first of all, Mr. Coase is very eloquent. I really like his presentation style. And the dad jokes can be pretty funny sometimes, but I really like the respect he gives to the movies, and I like the breakdowns of the history of the story and the movie making itself and all those things. I like how his love for the genres he covers is effusive. And look, I grew up in the 90s. I was a kid in the 90s, and ironic detachment and sarcasm was always the thing. And I'm craving earnestness. And Sven's got that in spades.
Well stated. And you touched on so many things in what you're saying, right? The mashup of his being a wordsmith, yet applying that towards dad joke, uncle joke, corny joke humor. It is quite the mashed up set of ingredients there together. And yet it is so interesting for so many people to go, okay. I mean, yes, in the internet era, anything can be researched and anything can be learned in these ways, but
Mhm.
the style in which he presents it makes it worthwhile, a good segment within the show.
Mhm.
All right, so in addition to or besides the historical reviews or the actors recap segments, which are the other segments of the show land well with you?
I love the songs, Doug, and especially whenever Anita's on, his daughter Natalie. They're fun. I especially appreciate when the songs are really complicated to sing. When he sings the really fast ones, and you can still understand everything he's saying. That's hard. Um, I have done a lot of musical theater in the past, and so the musicality and being able to convey the information like that in song, it's it's not always easy, and I always find that really the presentation is always very competent. Um, I love the male segments. I love to see the things that other people are making and doing. It's all really, again, coming back to the people with the love of what is being done. I like to see the community that people have are making. It's really great.
Great. It's great. It's positive. There is a reverence, as you're saying, a reverence and a love. So then, before we went live, we spoke a little bit about the Toho side of things, the Godzilla side of things. Is there a singular favorite movie that you have, or if not a singular favorite, is there a subgenre or genre within what gets shown that appeals more so to you?
My favorite movie that Sven has shown has, okay, I've got two. One is The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. Let's see. Here he is. Here I've got the what is it, NECA? Yeah, NECA. I mean
Oh, there, right here.
yeah. I've got a funny story about these guys here.
Oh, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
This was my favorite. I love this one. I love Lon Chaney Jr. as Wolfman and as Larry Talbot. But then also my other favorite would be House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price.
Vincent Price.
That I have another fun story about that one here in a moment. Those two are my favorites. That one is, of course, a bit more funny. It's not a comedy, but it's funnier because Vincent Price always brought a level of joy and kind of to like everything he did. And so I love that as well. The thing with the toys, these action figures here, let me just take my camera and tilt it up a little bit. I have a shelf.
Oh my gosh.
With, I think, just about all of them that have been made so far. Let's see. I've got, where am I pointing? I've got Phantom of the Opera, Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, The Mummy, Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, Wolfman, and way over there is Gillman. And then I also I've run out of space on my wall, but oh gosh, my camera's doing a thing now. I also have Lon Chaney Sr. as Professor Burke from London After Midnight.
Oh my God.
Got him, a really creepy face. And Nosferatu, which is difficult for me to say now because I keep trying to say Nostalgia Feratu.
Exactly.
But I've got Warlock here. And my dad and I actually buy these for each other as gifts. And so like every time there's a holiday or something, we just like trade. He has almost all of them too. I don't think he has those last two, but he got me those. Now for my other one, House on Haunted Hill, a few years, it wasn't a few years ago, last year, 2 years ago, I'm not sure. I do a lot of community theater. And one year one of the theaters I was working with, the Alban Theater, did a production of Beware the House on Haunted Hill, which is a stage play version based on the movie. Now it's slightly changed. For instance, goodness, this my camera's being a thing now. The Vincent Price character is he's a play producer, and his wife Annabelle, who is the one I played, was like his leading lady that he cast and everything. And so all of the characters were transferred from whatever they were in the movie to being related to the theater. So like Lance went from being, what was he, a fighter pilot in the movie? He was, the handsome leading man trying to break into the theater. And they ended up making him dumb as opposed to, but it was really funny the way they did it. A lot of times that kind of can fall flat, but I thought they did a really good job. But yeah, that was the first time I was on Svengoolie, oddly enough, was I had sent a picture with my my mother and my father. I'm trying to get the picture pulled up. I'm having trouble getting it on my phone.
For the male segment.
Yes, for the male segment. It was when he showed Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And he showed the picture. It was a picture of me and the rest of the cast with my parents on the stage as well. And I can't find it, but yeah, it was, we were on the set. And unfortunately, Kevin Pauly, who played the Vincent Price character, was completely covered by everyone else in the cast. So we didn't get to see him in the picture. But that was when that's when I was first on it, on the male segment.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, right, cool to have made it to the male segment, right? For anybody and everybody who does make it, there's a certain amount of, hey, look at my good fortune, or
yes,
look how cool this is.
Especially because you send in the mail and you don't hear back. They don't respond to you
for a good while.
Yeah, or like they'll never send you an email back.
Right.
I think I've heard one person say they did, but they don't respond to you. But it seems like the turnover from when you send it to when you might show up is about 2 months. That's when that's how long it took for both of mine. So they seemed to film about 2 months in advance. I don't know. I got this weird feeling in my gut both times I've been on the mail segment. It's like, I think tonight's the night. And I was right both times.
Cool intuition for it. We're joined by Danny Ketterman in the comments saying, love the show, Svengoolie. Danny, welcome to the conversation here. So you're referencing the one time, I guess let's do it. So the one time, and let me say, it sounds like I'm going to go out on a limb. You had a lot of fun with the reinterpretation.
Oh, it was so fun. It was one of the most fun times I've had on stage.
And now, so the other time that you had an item on the male segment, could you tell us about that one?
Yes. More recently, it was when he showed American Werewolf in London.
Very recent.
I had never seen before, and I still haven't seen the uncut version because a little gory for me. But I had my father, who again I watched Svengoolie with, had told me, gosh, a couple of years ago that Nighthawks by Edward Hopper, the painting, was his favorite painting. And I actually have I got him this print of it for, I believe, Christmas or his birthday a few years ago. So if you recognize it, it's this one, the people in the diner at night looking kind of sad. Well, I was an art major in college, and so I studied this piece as well as,
it's a study-worthy piece.
Mm-hmm. I was in Chicago last summer, and unfortunately, the wing that this was held in was undergoing renovation, so I didn't get to see it. So was the Broadcast Communications Museum, so I didn't get to see any of Svengoolie's old stuff either. I was there at exactly the wrong time. But he told me that was his favorite painting, and he just casually, offhandedly mentioned once, like, I'd like to see that with the Sven Squad, because it's, of course, one of the most parodied paintings in history. So one day I just sat down and I did that. I've got it. This was shown on the mail segment. Dad was kind enough to lend it back to me for this interview, but I've got it right here. Now, it's not nearly as detailed as the original painting because the original painting is 6 feet wide. This is 2. Because
Right.
there's nowhere in his house that could house a 6 foot wide painting. But yeah, I've got it here. Zoom in a bit. We've got Nostalgia for Ratu here, sitting here by himself with the candelabra. And we've got Sven hanging out with Gwen. And
there's the imp in
Imp's
the
down
station.
here being the cafe owner. And then up here, instead of saying, what does the original painting say? I think it says Phillies.
Phillies.
I had it say Berwyn, and instead of the cigar ad on it, it had a rubber chicken.
Oh, a good thing you're highlighting the rubber chicken. I wouldn't have deciphered it otherwise, but that is such a
little
awesome specific reinterpretation.
Yeah, I tried to put a lot of little thoughts into it. Took several hours. I did get it done in one day, but I had a really bad neck ache later. Yeah,
no, serious commitment. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that was the end of my thought.
Jim Campbell acknowledging that you gave the shout out to Berwyn. Chai Star G saying great painting with the Sven theme. Would you comment on what style of or what type of paints were used, or did you?
I used acrylic paints. The original was done in oils. I took an oil painting class in college, and I learned I absolutely hate the medium. So it takes entirely too long to dry. Like you can paint a layer with oil paints, and depending how thick that layer is, it can take a couple of weeks for it to dry. It's insane. I don't have the patience for that. So I used acrylics and some tiny brushes in a couple of places and some really big ones in others. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. This was the first thing I've painted in a really long time, and I did it last December. I think at the beginning of December. I missed Dad's birthday for it. I got him something different because I didn't finish this in time, but gave it for him for Christmas, and I will return it to him as soon as I see him again, which should be next week or this week. It's Sunday. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Let's see. I have a couple of other paintings that might be relevant.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
They are not Svengoolie specific, but they are stuck under my drawing table. Come here, you. Yeah, I'm making a mess. I made. Here we go.
Oh, let's get
this acrylic painting of Frankenstein's monster and the bride.
Man.
I've made those. I was going to make a series, and then I kind of burned out after 2, but I got these 2 done. They're of course, the promotional photos that I went into, I think, Photoshop and reduced the number of colors down to, I think, 6. So they're in 6 different shades of gray for each one. And then I painted them by hand using using acrylics, using the reference on Photoshop. I got these 2 guys. They've just been sitting on my desk. I haven't hung them or anything. I've got a lot of art just lying around the house. One more thing I've made. This is the last thing I've made, I promise. A little Svengoolie pop figure, Funko Pop.
So, goodness, what was your base figure for that, and what was your process in converting it to a Svengoolie?
This was Harry done in a tux from Dumb and Dumber.
I was going to guess Clockwork Orange. I would have. I am off the mark.
I went with this one because it had the top hat already. The hair was already pretty long. He was in a suit. So, yeah, I just got some. I got enamel paints. They're a little. They have a different formula. They're a little more opaque. Use them for like tiny models, like car models or train models. But I painted them all, and I even 3D printed him a little rubber chicken.
That's amazing.
I think this was the last thing I made with the 3D printer before it broke, and I just fixed it. It's been a couple of years that it's been sitting there dormant, but it works now.
Now
So I can make more rubber chickens.
I'm completely ignorant of 3D printing myself, but for what my pal J Spy has done with anyway. So how was it a challenge to scale the chicken to fit in just right there?
Yes.
Or
I did not make the model that I printed. I found I found the model online, and it was made to be this big. Or no, I think it was made to, I don't know, it was made to be like this big, but they are supposed to scale without any loss of, detail. It's more like a vector, I guess, which, yeah. But they're supposed to be able to get bigger and smaller so that the model on the computer doesn't lose any detail. But the amount of detail that the printer itself can make will vary on several different inputs, like the size of the nozzle that the plastic comes out, the amount of detail that you plug into the computer. That was pushing it. When I took it off of the print bed, it almost snapped in half because it's so small. But it was okay, and I glued it on, and it works great. As long as you don't like fiddle with a lot, it should be fine.
So I mean, so you're definitely deep into it. You've got the NECA figures in an excellent display. You're sending into the mail segment. You're converting. I mean, there's so many different ways to have fun with this and to participate in the community. That's so cool, so good.
I have another piece of art here that's that I did not make.
Let's do it.
My friend J.R. Earls, he lives in Buchanan, West Virginia. He does caricature art for a living, and so I had him draw this picture of Sven for my dad. And this was just a random little gift. He was doing them for a local convention, I think, and it was during COVID, so it was an online convention. I said, "Hey, I'll give you $5 if you draw Svengoolie for my dad." He's like, "Yeah, sure." So
it's absolutely character. Everything about character is captured there, but also the style of the mustache captures like early era Svengoolie. And
I think he used an early photo for reference. But like, isn't that great?
It is truly great. Chai Star is jumping in saying you speak his language with the vector versus.
I'm a graphic designer professionally, so I know all about the vectors versus the rasters and all of those things.
Man, oh man. All right, so this is so
sorry.
funny.
I'm kind of chatty when it comes to things I really like.
Hey, we're here. My focus here is to again continue to build community and highlight aspects and have a accumulation of how different people participate and experience in the shows in the community. So let's jump to okay, so clearly you have a reverence for the Universal characters based on your NECA collection.
The classic Universal movies are my favorite section, like subsection of them. I know that Pluto, the streaming app, it's a free streaming app. You can use it on your computer, your phones, whatever. And it has 24/7 channels that just like run a certain theme or a certain show all the time. Like there's one that's dedicated, it only shows Charmed 24/7, but they have one that's just Universal monsters, and it's movies that Universal has produced or distributed, because it'll show Hammer films sometimes. Yes. And sometimes it will show ones that aren't really monsters but would be things that Svengoolie shows. And so like I'll sit there and I'll just have that going on in the background as I go about my day. It's just a lot of fun.
What a good way to pass time.
Mm-hmm. But then I'm also a big fan of, I was mentioning before, the kaiju movies. Not as big a fan as my dad, and especially my brother, who's really into kaiju. But I do like the Godzilla movies. I love Mothra. King Ghidorah is my favorite. I don't like Space Godzilla. He was mean to Baby. Couldn't be mean to Baby Godzilla.
Nobody puts Baby Godzilla. in the corner.
Rosemary's Baby Godzilla.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Wow. All right, so this one I modify my question, right? My original way I conceived of the questions for people who came up with Svengoolie before he went national. So obviously, if you had no knowledge of Svengoolie
No.
in the past, but just had you heard stories, and because this also happened with Elvira, and I'm not sure how many other regional horror hosts would have attempted, but when it was 1982, there was the 3D broadcast of The Creature of the Black Lagoon, and then it didn't really transmit into 3D. So had you heard of that mishap, or had you any knowledge of it, or that it was just...
That was 5 years before I was born. No, I have not. I had not heard anything about this. But okay, semi-related. Like I said, I was a child in the 90s, and Nickelodeon had a week where they would show 3D stuff, and you had to write in to get your Noggle goggles, which were little 3D, little paper 3D glasses that you would put on to watch. And I sent in my letter to get my Noggle goggles, and I never got my Noggle goggles.
Oh, truly sad.
I am still sad about this 30-some years later.
Well, these things do have a way of staying with us across time.
So disappointed.
So let's ask you. You referenced the music. You referenced Doug Graves. You referenced the character of Anita Exorcist, who is in real life Doug's daughter. Do you, as far as the other characters for the show, be it the Sven Squad, be it Kerwin, do you have standout impressions that you would want to comment on of the supporting players?
Nostalgia for Atu is my favorite. It's incredible the difference between who he is as a person and who he is as the character. They're completely different. Bill is such a different person from Nostalgia for Atu, but I really liked when he was showing up, when he was first showing up, especially in the Svengoolie section. We don't get Tune In With Me here.
Really?
Right. They show the local morning show, so we don't get Tune In With Me. So I know Nostalgia for Atu was showing up on Tune In With Me beforehand, but I didn't see him. But especially early appearances when they would just crack each other up, and I don't even think there was necessarily a script between them, and they would just make each other laugh, and I loved that. Now, he's still funny, but I just wish they would make each other crack up a bit more. I love the whole Spin Squad. Gwen is so eloquent and very good at speaking and presenting information. It took about a month for her to really grow on me, but I think it was Arachnid, I believe. Okay. Or Tarantula. I don't remember which one, but it was the one where she was doing, like, she was a field reporter, and she was something with, "I'm Gwengoolie and I'm covered in spiders, aren't I?" Just the way she presented that was so funny to me. Yeah. That was what won me over. It took a while for me to really warm up to Imp. It felt like for a while they didn't really know what they wanted to do with the character. They found his voice, and his relentless optimism is my favorite part. Like, the other characters will make fun of him and they'll tease him a bit, and he just takes it all so good-naturedly, and he's such a sweet character. I really like that.
And I'm glad that you're speaking honestly on it, like it wasn't, an instant
right
with you, and right, because these things take time. And I forget who made the comment, but somebody had posted a good while ago that as a fan of the Jerry G. Bishop Svengoolie, it took certain people of that time a while to warm up to Rich Coe's, and so it's definitely part of the process. But I'm absolutely happy to see Imp finding an audience, some audience, his audience. Yes. And as you framed him that way, in that sense, if I can stretch this comparison, then Imp is kind of a Luke Skywalker like character, where he's hope against hope and believe in finding his way. Yeah,
exactly. And it comes back to what I was talking about before about all of the snarky sarcasm characters that I grew up with, just having a character be so earnest and optimistic and good natured, I think that really brings a really good balance to everything, because, you know, I love seeing Sven and Kerwin kind of verbally mock each other, but I don't want that from everyone. If
Right.
everybody is the snarker, then you've lost me.
Agreed. By having a larger cast, and they've created more space, so to speak, on the stage for them to operate within. And I am all about their added capabilities that they have with the squad. Now, somehow, if it had only stayed Sven up to including whatever his future retirement will be, I would also happily live in that reality.
Yes.
But I will appreciate the timeline as it is that we are in. Okay, so you're watching, you're communicating with your dad, your brother's also involved. As far as other vehicles to express connection or to participate, is there a convention or local horror convention that you attend, or that's not part of your participation in things?
We had a horror convention here in Charleston, West Virginia, for a few years, but we don't have it anymore. Mostly, I mostly go to anime conventions, and even then, only like the super duper local one. I go to SubasaCon in Charleston almost every year. There's HerdCon in Huntington. It's put on by the Marshall University Library. It's a free convention. I do go to that one every year. And that's more like general nerd stuff, lots of comic book stuff, some cosplay, tabletop games, things like that. But as far as horror cons go, there haven't been any nearby since I have gotten into horror. And I think I mentioned before we started the stream that I don't like being scared. I don't like being grossed out. So as far as horror cons go, I haven't really had a desire to go to the bigger ones, because I don't like seeing when your insides become your outsides. And it's kind of hard to avoid that, seeing that kind of thing at a convention.
Yeah. Just want to note, Shy Star is acknowledging that today, just down the street, is the last day of the Anime Central Fest in Rosemont, which is not immediately close to Berwyn, but not a great distance from Berwyn either. But then as far as places to go, so for your collection from the upper shelf there, is it more online purchases, or is there a cool independent shop somewhere where we're able? Where do you get your wonderful toys from?
Some of them are online. I've also found them at Go Calendars and Toys in the mall.
Okay.
Sometimes you can find them there. I've seen them at Best Buy, which I think is fun. I've seen them at Best Buy on the clearance rack, but they're always there and they're always getting more. But I don't see them on the shelves in the normal areas, like only on the clearance rack. So I don't know what that's about. But yeah, I think about the ones that I've bought for my father have been half online and about half from especially Go Calendars and Toys in the mall. You can find all kinds of things there that you wouldn't find at like Walmart or any other toy stores. Yes. We have a cute comic book and regular secondary bookstore in Huntington, and I can't remember what it's called now. It's been a while since I've been there, but they have a few toys like that. They're mostly resellers, but like really, really good quality stuff. The Inner Geek is what it's called.
Inner Geek.
They have like big walls of vintage toys, more modern toys, all kinds.
Most excellent. All right, if there's anybody in comments, we've got a few people watching along with us live. If anybody wants to kick any questions in before we start to wind down, and I say that always trying to leave a margin of error for people to put comments so we can actually see them. And sometimes comments pop up after we've already hit end stream. But as I'm throwing that out to the comment section, Aaron, are there things you're looking forward to for the upcoming either possible movies or movies that have been announced, or what are you hoping will be up and coming on the Svengoolie docket?
Oh, up and coming. Let's see. I think next week is Dr. Cyclops, right?
Yes.
I actually saw that on Pluto recently. I saw it last time Svengoolie watched it or showed it, and I remember really enjoying it. I like the sci-fi movies like that. I don't. I'm able to watch that one better or with less stress than The Incredible Shrinking Man. That movie stresses me out because I'm someone with chronic health issues, and having your body just stop responding and doing things in a way that no one understands or can stop, it's not fun. And then watching this movie and the monologue he gives at the end of it about continuing to shrink and beyond atoms, beyond the microcosm of the known universe, and it doesn't matter because he exists and God knows he exists. I remember I saw that and I was staring at the wall for several moments because it just that monologue, it's something that gets stuck in my heart.
There is some gravity to it when you give it full kind of like you put yourself in you're right there. There's point of view. There's just being a viewer, and here's a screen. But as one starts to consider or contemplate, what would that be more so like in a firsthand kind of a situation? Yeah, these things do have some gravity.
Isn't that what's so great about sci-fi, especially?
Right, it makes us think, or it leads us to to feel and consider things.
Yeah.
So speaking of considering, ChiStar, if you care to comment, Aaron ChiStar, what kind of graphic design do you do? And then next question will be after that. Campbell says, how would you describe Sven to someone who doesn't know? So let's go to ChiStar first.
Okay.
If you're able, please tell us a bit more about your design work.
Yeah, graphic design. I primarily build websites recently. I've been doing things for different local health initiatives. Most recently, there has been a program in local hospitals and clinics about psychiatric treatments or the guidelines for doctors and prescribers about treating kids and adults with things like ADHD or autism, and the best practices for, okay, first you do this for assessment and this for assessment and this for assessment. And then based on what you find, okay, then consider trying these treatments first and these interventions and things like that. So communicating to providers what the recommendations are from researchers, things like that. I also do some poster work for the local community theaters that I've been in. I've designed posters for shows I've been in. Let's see. I've done logos for local conventions. We've recently there's been one called Hurricane because I live in Hurricane. And I help with some stuff with that. We have a Renaissance Festival coming up this weekend right across the street in the local park. And so I've been doing some stuff with them. That's pretty cool. It's mostly fun stuff.
Excellent. And to come to Jim Campbell's question, how would you describe Sven to someone who doesn't know Sven?
I'm going to start by assuming that people have at least a vague familiarity with who Elvira is. So I'm going to say, take Elvira, But instead of being the sexy vamp, he's your silly uncle. Yeah, he's your fun uncle. He's your funkle. He's your scary funkle.
Scary funkle. See, charting out new territory as we have new guests to come around. Aaron, do you have any concluding comments that you would like to offer before we wrap up?
Oh, keep watching, keep seeking out fun content, movies. Think about the media that you're watching. It's okay to criticize the things you love. Don't denigrate things that other people enjoy that you don't. And it always seems like there's somebody complaining about whatever movie is being shown, and not everything is for everyone, and that's okay. Just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's bad. It can just be something you don't care for. And yeah, phrases, don't yuck other people's yums.
Don't yuck other people.
Kind to each other.
I have nothing greater than that to offer in conclusion. Just my final question will be not to answer here, but if you could send me the picture of the Funko custom, Sven, because I think I should switch that into the thumbnail.
Okay.
Because I think that's a really good.
That'll probably draw a few more people. Yeah, I'll take a nice picture and send it to you.
Man, that is so great, Aaron. Thank you so much for coming around. As it is,
Thank you for having me.
Why? Oh, here we go. So Chai Star has to get in his standard question. When is the next live stream? I will let you know, Chai Star, but soon we will have.
I saw your unboxing of the little back charms. I saw that. I posted it.
I knew they were out there, and so I was looking. And yesterday was the right time and place. But Scott Biederstedt will be coming around soon as I can get him scheduled to break down his material. So that
comics are great.
We'll see, but that's what will be next. Aaron, thanks so much for coming by. Chai Star, thank you. Jim Campbell, thank you. And who is our new person for First Time in Commons, Danny Ketterman. Welcome to having been around with us also, Danny Ketterman. I will close us out. We'll see you soon, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.